the Outdoor Drive Podcast.
All right, welcome back to episode 200. We made it to 200. It's not one before, one after. It is the 200th episode that we've actually recorded here at the Outdoor Drive Podcast. This is your boy, East Coast Trev, and I'm joined, as always, by my good buddy, Mr. Madman Mardick.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, this is a scary movie.
That was back when Budweiser was cool.
Oh, Budweiser. Not even the scary movies one? Is it? What's up?
I don't know which one came first. I think Budweiser came first.
Budweiser definitely came first, and then Scary Movie took it over on the second. So, all right, we're doing it, dude.
Well, we're off the rails already, so we're off to a good start.
200. And as always, we don't have a guest for this one because things have been kind of haywire. So we're just gonna do the 200 with me and Steve-O. Who knows where this is gonna go, where it's been, and where it could potentially lead. I guess, is that how we do that? I don't know. Let's do some housekeeping, and then we're just gonna tear right into it, bro. What do you say there? Because we got some really cool things. We're gonna do the bow hunting league pick of our team. We're gonna go into all those good things there, and we'll tell everybody kind of how that all plays out. What do you say?
For sure.
All right, Huntworth Gear, huntworthgear.com. They are the official sponsor of the Outdoor Drive Podcast, and they are the title sponsor of the Outdoor Drive Podcast. Go on over to huntworthgear.com and get yourself some great hunting camo. The hunting season is about to get started, so you want to get that stuff now and get that stuff in order for the early season and some of your late season stuff. Now is the time to do that. Nor'easter Game Calls, nor'eastergamecalls.com. Go and see Mr. Mark over there. You can play around with the new grunt tube. By far some of the best grunt tubes yet, hands down. Phenomenal. Really looking forward to this deer season with them. There is some on the website, as I say, every single week. And there's also, we will have them at the Hunt Stock August 10th, 11th, 12th, I think is when we're going to be there.
12, 13, 14. I think it's 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, so huntstock.com. You guys can go check that out. Get your tickets over there. We will be there loud and proud. And, you know, you guys can come.
Emphasis on the loud.
What's that?
Emphasis on the loud.
Yeah, emphasis on the loud.
We won't be hard to find.
No, you can definitely not miss us. Also, we have a new sponsor that just jumped on with us, and that's Latitude Outdoors, latitudeoutdoors.com. For all of your mobile hunting needs, the new carbon sticks and the new platforms, new Latitude saddle. They were sponsoring with us before, but they ended up coming back around, so we get to have them once again. We're looking forward to them, and I'm looking forward to the carbon sticks, to be honest. I mean, I think that's the number one thing that I'm looking forward to. Bowhunters United, bowhuntersunited.com. They also bring you the news for your cruise. If you guys haven't signed up for bowhuntersunited.com, the link is down below with the rest of the sponsors list. Down there, you can sign up and get yourself a membership with Bowhunters United, the people that advocate for the bow hunting world. So let's break it on over to our buddy, Mr. Mike Salter, for News for Your Cruise. He did forget one of the things, and I'll give you the news for this one. Recently, this past week, Pennsylvania, they screwed up. Their licenses was all messed up. They went to their new program, and they people were on there for hours and didn't get anywhere. So Mike Salter did forget that. So I figured that we could have news from East Coast Trev for a second there. So we figured we'd give you that. Let's bring it on over to our buddy Mr. Mike Salter, and then we'll get back to our normal planned program. Well, kind of planned. So all right, here we go, Mike Salter.
All right, guys, why don't we buckle up and see what's going on in the world of news with Mr. Mike Salter.
Hey everyone, we're going to start this one off in Delaware, where trail cameras for recreational use have been banned on all state wildlife areas, state parks, and state forests. The ban does not apply to private lands. This marks Delaware as the sixth state to impose such a ban, with several other states currently considering bans, so be on the lookout for any proposals across the country. Now to Minnesota, where love them or hate them, crossbows will now be legal for all hunters to use during the fall archery deer season and spring turkey season. This is a change from previous years where crossbows were only legal for those with special permits, those over 60 years old, or for use during the firearms for deer or turkey. Now to Maryland, where the DNR has announced the hunting license and stamp fee increases, which were passed in the legislature. These increases will take effect for the 2023-24 hunting season. Resident regular hunting license has increased to $35 from $24.50. Non-resident hunting licenses have increased to $160 from $130. The new Sika Deer stamp will be $10 for residents and $25 for non-residents. And prices for apprentice and junior hunting licenses, 3-day non-resident licenses, migratory game bird stamps, and stamps and permits for fur bearers have also been adjusted. Now to Montana, where the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is seeking input on the draft for their new elk management plan. The plan was drafted after extensive public outreach last summer and fall, when FWP staff met with the public, landowners, hunters, and others at nearly 50 meetings. The draft plan includes changes to population goals, including in areas and focuses on population ranges and other aspects of herd dynamics like bull to cow ratios. FWP Director Dustin Temple stated this plan will serve as our guiding document for elk management, and so it's critical that we hear from hunters, outfitters, landowners, and others during the public commenting timeframe. The draft plan can be viewed on FWP's website, and the comments are due by July 31st. The draft environmental assessment for the draft elk plan will also be released in about a week, and the public should also be reviewing and commenting on the environmental impacts of the draft plan. So be on the lookout for that. Now for some national news, where the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service announced last week a rule to ban the use of lead ammunition and tackle in 8 national wildlife refuges by 2026. These refuges are located in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Maine. In 2021, the Center for Biological Diversity sued the federal government over the Trump rule expanding hunting and fishing to 2.3 million acres across 147 wildlife refuges and fish hatcheries. The Biden administration, instead of defending the rule, asked the court to delay proceedings in February of 2022, and in November agreed to a settlement with the group that stipulated the government would take wide-ranging steps to protect wildlife harmed by expanding hunting and fishing on national wildlife refuges. Under the settlement, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service promised to expand lead ammunition prohibitions in its 2324 rule, which it has now done. There's legislation proposed called the Protecting Access for Hunters and Anglers Act in Congress now that would block the Fish and Wildlife Service, Forest Service, and BLM from banning lead ammunition or tackle unless such action was supported by the best available science. And also, the Lead Act is also sitting in Congress, which would ban all lead ammo and tackle on all U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service managed lands and waters. The Fish and Wildlife Service rule is in the Federal Register, and comments can be submitted through August 22nd. So, and please reach out to your legislators to support the Protect Access for Hunters and Anglers Act and oppose the Lead Act. There's a big issue across the country with lead ammo and lead tackle, so be sure to get on those. Now for a couple of opportunities. First, in Wisconsin, where the DNR will be holding an educational hunting webinar for anyone interested in learning to hunt black bears at 12 p.m. on July 12th. The webinar will be held on the DNR's YouTube page and will include information on bear biology and management, hunting rules and regulations, and the most common techniques for hunting bears in Wisconsin. Then in Ohio, where applications for public land controlled hunting opportunities will be accepted starting July 1st. These hunts provide special chances for people to pursue waterfowl, deer, doves, and more. Hunts for adults, youth, mobility impaired, and mentors with apprentices are all available. Species-specific hunts include deer, waterfowl, dove, pheasant, squirrel, and quail, and firearm and archery opportunities are both available for some species. The application does come with a $3 application fee, and hunters can apply for multiple hunts, but can only apply to each hunt once per year. Hunters will be randomly drawn, and successful hunters will be notified by August 8th. Also, don't forget to check out the Outdoor Drive affiliate link in the episode description to become a Bowhunters United member and help protect and expand your bow hunting rights. As always, if you have anything to send along, it'd be greatly appreciated. Reach out to me at Mike Salter on Facebook or beard_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
All right. Thank you, Bowhunters United, for that, and also Mike Salter for the news for your cruise. We really appreciate it. So, all right, Madman, we're back on the show. So why don't you do something special? I don't know. It's the 200th episode. What would you want to do on the 200th episode if it was for you?
I would have liked to have a guest. No, I'm just kidding.
These things
because
happen.
when we have a guest, I don't have to do shit, but just sit here and make smart ass comments every once in a while.
It's totally
I actually
true.
have to do something.
So with the bow hunting league coming up, we decided, and we'll just get right into that because I mean that's more or less part of the housekeeping aspect of it. So Bowhunters League, if you guys haven't checked them out, bowhuntersleague.com. They do a really cool thing. It's a free bow hunting competition. Give away a ton of stuff per state. They give away mounts. They give away all kinds of different products, and it's just nuts the kind of stuff that they actually give away.
Yeah.
It is, and they have a leaderboard for state. They have Kings of Tines. They have, I mean, it's just a ton of stuff. You guys haven't checked that out. And they also do a weekly bow shoot, also, which they do, which is pretty cool. They do an elk thing and a turkey thing. They do a little bit of everything, but they have a really good thing. We're gonna have them on the podcast here shortly. But anyways, we're gonna get our teams going. So we decided, since there is 6 of us on the Outdoor Drive team. We got Mike Salter. We got Seth Boulay. Louis Fiera, and Justin Barnes, me, and Steve-O, that we are going to divide them up, but we didn't know how to divide them up properly, so Steve came up with the ingenious idea of dividing it up, just drawing the names out of the hat, right? I mean, that's virtually what we're going to do, right? I mean...
Well, I mean, first of all, that's usually the only kind of ideas that I come up with, genius ones. Second of all, yeah, I mean, it only made sense because in the grand scheme of things, like, it doesn't really matter who your team is. It's not like, unfair advantage or anything like that. Because it's at the end of the day, it's just for fun, and we're all on the same team anyways. So what are we going to do? Captain's picks, like it's the schoolyard, and like, Trev picked somebody, then I picked somebody. It was like, we'll just put the names in the hat, pick our teams, and whoever ends up with whoever ends up. That's how it is,
Mm-hmm, for sure. So what are we going to do? We're going to do you're a captain, I'm a captain, and we'll draw the other 2?
Yeah. Yep. So
right.
I got the other 4 guys' names in the hat right now. So I will draw for you first.
Oh, okay.
I don't see in the
Oh, okay.
In the screen right now,
all
but
right,
I'm not cheating. I'm not cheating.
I'm watching. I'm watching you.
All right, I'm reaching in here.
Yep.
First for you. This is for you.
Great.
Oh, good pick, Mr. Seth Booyah.
Oh, I got
on
Seth.
Team East Coast Trev.
All right.
Let's go here. All right, reaching this for me. JB, let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, so obviously this is going to be the last pick. So this is for you. And Mr. Mike Salter, Team East Coast Trev.
All right, so we got Mikey Salter.
Wait, where's Lou? He's not even in here.
Where's Lou?
Oh, I found him. Here he is.
Hashtag where's Lou?
and I got Lou right here. So those are the teams.
We got good teams.
Maybe we'll have to do a poll or something on the Facebook group.
What team
for people to pick which team they're rooting for. Whatever, we'll have some fun with it.
Oh, for sure, it'll be good. It doesn't really matter. They're all good people. They all shoot good deer. I mean, it is what it is. We're gonna have fun. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be
for sure.
It'll be a good thing. We're looking forward to it. Just something fun to do, and like you said, we'll have our own little competition between all of us, anyways. Kind of who does what throughout the season. I don't know, dude. Seth's putting in some serious work, so you better watch out.
Seth's always putting in work.
Yeah. But then you got
I ain't scared.
Yeah, well, where's Lou? You got where's Lou? So that's like, I think that's, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that should be like a handicap for you, dude. You should have like 3-point handicap or something.
I'll take it 3 point. I'll take 3 shots aside. Let's go.
It's one of those things. I mean, it's just crazy. So what do you got going on for the season, man? I mean, like what's kind of the outlook for you and kind of what you got going on and planned and so on and so forth?
I mean, it's way too early to tell for sure, but I mean, I ordered 100 batteries the other day because you know how it is when you run a lot of trail cameras. Batteries, you run through some batteries. So I got all of my reveals out last week.
Yep.
But I still have I don't know. I got to count them up. I think I have 10 non-cells.
Jeez.
That I still have to deploy. I'm in good shape. I usually try to get all that done by, 4th of July weekend or the weekend after. So that's a plan in the next couple of weeks. And then, so what I like to do, and I think this is a good thing for the listeners to think about, because I feel like a lot of guys accidentally do this on accident. When I do my postseason scouting, I'm always looking for ambush locations or places where I think I can kill a buck, even if I don't know if there's a buck there. That way, when I start deploying all my cameras, when a shooter buck does show up on camera, or if a shooter buck shows up on camera, I pretty much already have the location picked. And by the time he shows up, I probably already have that tree prepped for the saddle or hang and bang or preset or whatever it be. So, like I said, I'm ahead of the deer. So I'm ready. Trees prepped, spots picked, um, cameras in. I do a card check, say August. Boom, shooter bucks there. I'm already ready for him. Now I just got to wait for the season to start. Right. I feel like a lot of people can relate to, and I've been there before. That's why I know this. You deploy the camera, you get a shooter buck. It's end of August, maybe beginning of September when he shows up, and
Right.
now all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, how am I going to kill this deer now? Now you have to go in there. Then you got to poke around. Now you got to find a tree to kill him in. Then you got to cut your shooting lanes. Well, I mean, maybe not, but now you're in there pushing them around, putting a bunch of scent in there. You know me, I'm super anal when it comes to that stuff. I want to be as low pressure as possible. So the thought of me going in there and cutting shooting lanes and stuff like that close to the season makes me cringe. So and again, you can do that and be successful. I'm not saying you can't. I just personally can't stand it. So I try to get trees prepped, whether I know if there's a target buck in there or not.
Right.
Then it's just a waiting game to see who shows up where, and then base my time based on that.
Yeah, I do all that every single time. I mean, that's the only thing I do right there. I mean, that's it.
What? Wait till the last minute and just
Yeah.
say fuck it.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a couple of spots I've put in so much time and effort into, and just gonna kind of roll with those punches. I mean, I'm not gonna have much time during fishing season to be able to prep stuff, so I have my little spots. I have that I'm gonna be able to hunt, and I'm just gonna hunt them. I know always a good deer comes in. Just gonna put a lot of time in the tree stand, I guess, this year. I mean, that's gonna be the majority of it. I think as the season starts to kind of roll on, August, September, I'll be able to put a little bit more prep time into it, I guess, but. I don't know. Dude, bro, I got so many cameras deployed, it's not even funny. They're still deployed since last season. They've just been soaking.
Yeah, just soaking dead batteries and everything. You probably don't remember where half of them are.
No, I really don't actually. I'm not really sure where they are. And as you move them, like, yeah, I definitely, I think about those cameras all the time. I'm like, where did I leave that camera? Where did I leave that camera?
It's funny because I mean, you've seen my mapping and my pins and stuff like that. I'm pretty good about it. Like when I drop cameras,
Mm-hmm.
I always drop a pin on the camera, and then in the notes, a lot of times I'll put what camera it is,
Right.
like make and model, and I'll even put the date. Yeah, I know I know the pin. You can click on the pin. I'll tell you the date you created the pin, but I always just write the date that I checked the camera last in the notes. And I'm pretty religious about that when it's like a big camera deployment day where I'm dropping 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras and just that's all I'm doing.
Right.
But then what happens is every once in a while you'll just move a camera because like it's just not getting what you want it to get or for whatever reason. So you move it. You're like, I need another camera over here. I'll pull that camera and I'll move it a couple 100 yards and then I won't drop the pin and like it'll take me a minute to be like, what happened to that camera? I thought did someone steal my camera? Oh no, I moved it 300 yards over the hill,
And then you can't find it.
No, I usually end up finding it, but I have to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. I don't know.
That's like back in the day with, especially, well, I still do a lot, but like hunting ladder stands, moving ladder stands. I can't tell you how many times I pulled a ladder stand and got the stand down and then remembered I had my easy hanger still up in the tree.
That's the worst.
And I'm not going to rehang the ladder stand just to get the easy hanger. So I just leave it up there. Like, dude, there's probably like 50 easy hangers in like random trees all over southeastern Connecticut that I just left in a tree. Just go to Walmart and buy another 3-pack.
I love the fact that I do the same thing saddle hunting, and I'll just leave the thing in the tree, and then sometimes I'll hunt that tree again, and sometimes I won't. Sometimes you just go there. There was one tree that I went back to like 5 or 10 years later, and I was like, oh, my hanger's still in the tree. It was just super good there, but no, I don't know. I'm looking forward to this season. I'm hoping. I don't know, man. I'm in the air about doing a travel hunt again. Like I might. I don't know. I might. I want to go back to Ohio really bad. Like it's definitely on my things to do list. But I don't know. We'll see if it works out in the favor or just focus most of the time at home. Like there's good deer here, and the problem is you leave the deer here always when it's the best time. That's one of the biggest things about travel hunting that kind of like, You go somewhere else, or you hunt another state, or whatever, and then you're leaving the deer that you put all this time and effort in through August and so on and so forth, July, August, and it just doesn't happen.
Right.
I think it's
I think what I what I'm gonna do this year is what I did last year. Is I'll take my vacation when I take my vacation. I'm not planning on leaving the state unless I tag out with my bow in Connecticut with plenty of vacation left.
right.
Big if, but if I find, let's just say hypothetically, I shoot a buck fairly early in the season, and then I fill my other archery buck tag on November 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm tagged out on November 6th
Right.
with a ton of vacation coming up. I might jump states just to have another buck tag for the rest of my vacation.
Right.
But if I'm still actively, hunting a target buck in Connecticut, and I have a bow archery tag, then I'm just going to stay here and hunt them until I either kill them or tag out.
Yeah, that's a really good plan, honestly, because then now you're not focusing all of your time and effort in another state that you potentially can only hunt for a week or two. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things that's going to be tough for me this year is now taking on the new job because, like, we run until November 1st. So, like, it's a little bit spottier in October, but it's still really good fishing in October. And then I'm not off the boat until November 1st. So, like, it's almost for me like I was going to draw Iowa this year, but I don't know if I want to take that tag until next year when I have a little bit more time and focus on what's going on and kind of a little bit more grasp of how I'm going to do everything, because I don't want to leave, be here September, October, and then the 1st of November, I mean, head to Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I will take those preference points from you, and I'll be more than happy to go to Iowa for November 4th.
Nope.
I mean, I don't really see what the problem here.
No, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna wait another season, and then just kind of use it there. I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, dude.
Yeah, that's when I start my vacation. I have to double check. I think I'm looking at November 4th.
Yep.
Is that first Saturday? November 4th will be the start of my vacation if everything goes accordingly.
So then you're gonna take the month.
So 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yep.
Yeah. So
that's a good time to do it.
I tell my boss, I'm like, listen, you don't want me here anyways, because even if I was at work, I'm not really gonna I'll go fucking nuts if I'm at work.
In November.
November 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
11th.
No way.
Oh, my God.
No way.
Yeah. Speaking of the new job, dude, I'm telling you this, dude. It's been an incredible season already. Like, I had a charter today, and we got a fish of a lifetime, dude. We got a 51-incher, 49 pounds. I mean, it was an absolute giant. And that's like the third or fourth fish that I've gotten over 45 pounds this week alone. It's nuts. It's insane. The fishery has been super fish, though. That's one of the only negatives. Like, there's like a ton of people fishing, and you're seeing way more people fishing. Like, dude, it's a Tuesday, and there'll be 25 boats out there. Like, what?
Really?
Dude, it's that bad.
Hey,
like, it's that
You know
bad.
what they say, though?
What?
There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Well, now that the thing is, okay, yes, I agree with you. And this is where kind of like it's a debatable situation, because they want to get rid of the moratorium of striped bass. So they want to close the striped bass season. And they changed the limit from 20. It used to be 28 to 35. Now it's 28 to 31. So only a couple inches. And they really just want to close the season all the way together. And then, but I honestly, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm kind of a little bit. I get taken back by the situation, and I want to make sure that I say the right thing, because, like, commercial fishery, they don't change the commercial fishery. Like the state of Massachusetts, anything over 34 inches, and those guys can keep 15 fish 2 or 3 days a week, but we can only keep 28 to 31. And then the dragon boats, each dragon boat gets 100 striped bass tags a year. Like, but then they're trying to regulate us at 28 to 31, one fish per person. Like, and they're saying that recreational fishing is taking most of the deaths of striped bass. And also, Connecticut DEP came out with that 1 in 10 caught fish actually don't make it. Which, dude, that's a bullshit lie. 1 out of 10. Like, come on, dude. There's no way that 1 out of 10 die. Like, I disagree with it. I honestly
Yeah.
disagree with it. You know, I think there's a lot of arguments to be had there.
Well, hold on a sec. You said that the drags get 100 tags a year.
100 tags a year normally, yeah. New York draggers.
So they can kill 100 striped bass with their nets a year.
A year.
So what happens when they get their 100 and they're out of tags and they're still dragging? They're still killing fish. You just gotta throw them back.
Yes and no. So a lot of the times what happens is, and how this works is, the dragging boats from New York, a lot of the times when the fish come up on the beaches, then they go in there and drag. The normal areas where they fish, there's not normally stripers. So when they know that there's a ton of fish on the beaches, they go up in there and then they get their fish. And they're over 34 inches also. So all of their stripers have to be over 34 inches. So, I mean, I think they're doing worse on, the population than we are. But on the same token, I think that the population is flourishing more than it's ever been flourishing. A lot of the documentation that they're using is from a long time ago. Like, it's not, they don't use a lot of the documentation used from, like, us charter fishermen. They don't use that documentation to, what's live time now, because there's no, like I don't turn in a report on how many striped bass that I catch or how many I kill or whatever. They ask how many times do you go out? How many times do you go out fishing in a week? Like, that's information. They don't even know how many fish that we're catching. So they're using data from one of the pieces of information that they're using is off of a piece of paper that's dated back to 1998. It's just I don't know. They're just I don't feel as if they needed, like, for example, so they turned it 28 to 31. Connecticut adopted it instantaneously, and they went and they changed it to 28 to 31 inches. New York told them to F off, and they then waited until August 1st. And then Maryland told them to F off. They didn't even, Maryland or New Jersey, they're not even adopting the new regulation. They're staying with it, with whatever it is now. So, like, it was federally advised.
So that's federal. Yeah,
that's federally right? Advised. Yeah. And it's just ridiculous, dude. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, the fishery is flourishing more than it's ever been flourishing. We're seeing bigger fish than we've ever seen before. I think it because they had changed that slot from 28 to 34, and those big fish weren't able to be killed. And now they're with the 28 to 31, we're going to see even more fish. So it's working, but we already have a huge population. The way that they talk is that we don't have a population at all. It's just, I don't know. It's super upsetting, honestly. But those fish will still be in the river. Dude, the temperature of the river was 76 degrees today. The water and outgoing tide. That's super high. Super hot. Super hot. Incoming tide would be like...
You guys are crushing it, though, man.
Yeah. I mean, having the three captains.
I see all you. Wait, speaking of that, you touched around it, but why don't you shamelessly plug yourself here? Like, you talk about the new job and everything, but why don't you tell everybody, like, where you're working and what it's called and where they can find you and they can book a trip with you? Yeah,
so I do have a bunch of openings, actually. So Realcast Charters, realcastcharters.com. I got to work with Mike Roy. Mike was on the podcast in the 80s. 80s? Yeah, I think episode 81 or 41. I can't remember. One of those two episodes, you can look them up. Realcast Charters, Mike Roy. So I got offered a job last year to be able to go and work for him and be a captain and run trips and so on and so forth. And it's been really good. We have there's a good amount of openings. I've been running the 10:30 to 3:30 slot, and then the 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. slot, and then I run Saturdays. My day off is Sunday. So it's been super busy, and it's been kind of like it's been crazy for me, but like it's been a blast, dude. We fish a lot in the Connecticut River. So we fish in the Connecticut River June, July. And then August we go out and we fish outside in Fisher's Island, and then we come back into the river around August. I'm sorry, September and October. We fish inside the river, so it's cool. And we do a little bit of sea bass fishing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So, but it's a 3-man private charter, so it's been cool. Totally different than what I'm used to, man. Going from like 100-passenger party boat or a 6-pack fishing charter to now this. It's next to none. Probably one of the best jobs I've ever had in the fishing industry. Honestly, like it's a blast. I've never had so much fun with some great clients. Like I had one gentleman today. His name was Bill. The dude was a killer. First off, I mean, I'll start that off. Like the dude shot 191 inch whitetail, in Michigan, a couple years ago. Early
I thought there was
season.
no big deer in Michigan. That's what
Yeah,
everybody from
that's
Michigan
what everyone
says.
says. So it was an urban deer. He shot it early season. He was there. He shot a ton of great animals and whatnot, but I mean, I got to fish with him today. He's in remission from Hodgkin's lymphoma, cancer. So he was just it was just a bucket list for him to come up and catch a big striper. So we were able to get a real big striper, once in a lifetime fish, and it was super cool, man. I've met some just great people that just do some great things. That hunt all over, fish all over. It's a little bit more intimate. It's me and 2 other guys or 3 other guys. So it's kind of cool, man, to definitely tell some stories and stuff. It's just super cool. And I'm just blessed with the opportunity that, Mike kind of took my dumb ass in. I mean, like stories go on, like, my first trip, I was fishing with a couple. They were like on like an anniversary. No, it was a birthday party for the husband, and they had gotten a hotel and they were up there, and he wanted to go fishing, so they came out fishing with me. So the first time I'm like spot locked on this flat, and we're catching big stripers, like 30, 40 pounders, and I go to cast out, and I'm using a Trinidad, Shimano Trinidad, which is like a $500 or $600 reel, and then it's on like a G Loomis blue water or whatever. It's like $300 and something rod. And I go cast it in, and I flip the actual switch, and the fucking rod goes right in the water, dude. My first trip. And like I'm nervous, right? Like my hands covered in bunker slime and this, that, and the other thing, and I dropped the fucking rod in the water, dude. I sat there forever trying to snag it. I couldn't find it, this, that, and the other thing. And then so I went back, and Mike
How
was
deep
like,
was it?
it was like 12 feet. Like I could have probably jumped in and got it, but like I didn't.
Should have called Brower.
I should have. My boy Don said the same thing. He's like, "Oh, just go dive for it." So I didn't
Did you
end
drop
up.
a pin on it?
Yeah, I did. So I didn't end up finding it. But like you're like nervous, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to do like the right thing, and then like 3 days later, and this is just like stupid Trev's bloopers. So like the third day, now mind you, and I'll break this down for you. The boat is absolutely brand new. It's 1 year old. It's a beautiful 27-foot conch, gorgeous boat, all loaded to the gills, hummingbird, spot lock. It's got big hummingbird, like 19 or 20 inch screens in it. It's got a 300 Suzuki, brand new this year. It's got like 300 hours on it, loaded down with all G Loomis, Shimano, Gamakatsu. I mean, it's got everything you can buy. The boat is just loaded to the gills. So, and it's brand new. So, like a third or fourth trip, dude, I'm driving home, and I get it all up on the trailer, because we trailer back and forth. Mike doesn't live all that far from the boat launch, so we trailer instead of putting it in a slip. And then when we go to, Groton in August. So, I'm trailering home, dude, and I keep hearing like this ting, 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 ting. I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? And I'm looking, and I don't see nothing. And it's funny now thinking back on it. There was like a piece of like white plastic in the middle of the road when I saw it, and I thought I just like had ran something over. So I keep hearing it ting, ting, tong, ting, 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 tong. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I go to pull onto the road to go to Mike's place, and I hear snap, and I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" I look back. I left up the VHF antenna, and I snapped off the VHF antenna, dude. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, how am I gonna explain this to Mike when I get back to back to his house? So we pull in the driveway, and he's like, "How was the trip?" And now, mind you, I've thrown the rod in. I've had other little instances. You know what I'm saying? So like, this does not look good, and I'm nervous as shit. And so I get back, and I'm like, Mike, I says, trip was real great. I says, but I broke something. He's like, what'd you break? I go, look, and he's like, come on. I'm like, yeah, dude. I said I left the VHF thing up. He's like, dude. He goes, there's a learning curve to it, man. He says, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine, man. So I went down to West Marine and I bought a brand new VHF antenna for him, and he installed it. Actually, I didn't. He installed it and put it on. But I'll tell you this much: I'll never forget to put the VHF antenna down ever again, dude. Never again will I ever forget to put down. Like it's just one of those things. But it's been a lot of fun, dude. I cannot wait to July, end of July and August, like the best 2 times of the year. Especially we'll be fishing in very good areas. In that we fish in the Atlantic Ocean. Those 2 months. So the end of July, August, it's just one of the best areas to fish, and that's when we get like some giant fish. I don't know how we're gonna get any bigger fish than the fish that we already started to catch. It's pretty cool.
I noticed that. I was saying that to you yesterday, like just following you guys on social media. Like you guys are pretty much posting up a slob every day. And like I follow other local charters in the area, and like no offense to them, I don't see anybody that's posting fish like you guys are posting up right now.
So a lot of those big fish. So right now, I mean, we're getting the big migration of fish, and they go up the river and so on and so forth. Drop out of the river. So they go up the river, and then now is the time when they fall out of the river, and they're on the bunker. So we're using a lot bigger live bait. Some of these other guys and other charter guys, the 6-pack trolling guys, they're on reefs with smaller fish. They're not going to see their bigger fish until July or August. So that's when you'll see that we have their fish now. Then the fish drop out of the river. They're on the reefs, those big fish. And then that's when those people will start to get the bigger fish. But I don't know, the past 2 or 3 years, man, the fishing has just been absolutely incredible. The stripers are just some giant stripers around. I mean, it's something else to be said, like to be able to go out there and like guys catch. And I've been very lucky. I have like a horseshoe up my ass when it comes to striped bass because like I've just been around big striped bass for a very long time, and it's just something that I've always focused on and fished for a very long time and understood. And like my thing was light tackle fishing. Like I had my own little center console, and I would fish like with eels, and I did very well. I've caught a lot of big fish, north of 40. We've caught a 60-pounder on my boat before, locally too, which there's the Block Island fish with those guys catch giants all the time. 50 pounds is just an average fish. And it's supposed to be that once in a lifetime fish. When you catch a 50-pounder, 50 pounders is a once in a lifetime fish. Like your end goal, like to put it for the whitetail guys, to shoot a 200-inch is that once in a lifetime opportunity, and that's like your one goal to shoot is a 200-inch. That's the same for striped bass. 50 pounds or more is a once in a lifetime. It's not something that should be torn up and put like kind of thrown away like a 125. Like a 50-pound margin of a fish is it's just one of those achievable goals as a fisherman is to catch those fish. And like they throw it around like it's nothing. And guys are like, oh, I got a 50-pounder. Oh, I got a 50-pounder. Oh, I got a 50-pounder. Like, but like a lot of them don't boga their fish. And boga, when you boga grip a fish, like that's an IGFA certified scale. Like tells it to the T. Like there's so many fish that I could tell you that were like, oh, that's a 50-pounder, but you put it on a boga, 46, 47, 48, 49. Like, to break 50's tough. Like, I was talking about this the other day with Mike. Like, dude, we catch hundreds. Like, I average probably anywhere between on average about 20 to 25 fish a trip, okay? And we haven't broke 50. And I've done a ton of trips already. Have not broke 50. Like Seth, our good buddy Seth. That dude fishes 2 trips a day, 5 days a week. He kills his 6 stripers for his clients every single day, catches hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fish a year. And literally, if he breaks 50 pounds once or twice in a season, that's remarkable. Like, so like, especially locally, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a fish of a lifetime. To break 50 pounds, like, I remember days when I was a kid and catching, you like, that margin that you were trying to shoot for was 40 inches. Like, how many fish can I catch in Norwich Harbor that was over 40 inches? Like, that was like my goal. Like, how many fish can I catch over 40 inches? And I'd be like, oh, I got 11 fish on the season over 40 inches. You know, like, that's a lot. You know, like, that's a big fish. I mean, you're talking a 25, 30-pound fish. Like, that's a big fish. And then guys are just like, oh, I want a 50-pounder. I want a 50-pounder. Yeah, I want a 50-pounder too, dude. Like, they're hard to catch. That's not an easy thing to break, honestly. I mean, I've caught a pile of them, but now, but like, that's the once in a lifetime fish, dude. So to break 50 inches, like right now we caught one today. It was about 50 inches, 51 inches. Our ruler only goes to 48. So it's like 50 inches. That fish was only 48 pounds. And then we got another one the other day that was 48 inches. It was only 46 pounds. But as you progressively go on throughout the season, like you start to get July, August, when them fish are out of the river and they're packing on weight, going back on their migration, it will almost be inches to pounds. So like if you catch a 50-inch fish, it's almost 50 pounds.
That's what I always was under the impression, like that big unicorn fish was 50 pounds, 50 inches. You wanted to break 50 both ways.
50 both ways. And you get that towards the end of July, August. Like, that's when you start to see those fish that are that big. And that's a hard break, man. Like, to catch a fish of that size. And the other thing that's really cool too, like with stripers, like they max out. Like 54, 55. I know a gentleman that got a 57. That was 74 pounds on an IGF scale. Which is nuts. Like, dude, that's insane. The world record's 85 pounds. That guy, Greg, he's probably broke the world record. I mean, he broke the world record at 85 pounds. But he was he was the guy to watch. Like, he was your Mark Jury here. Like, that you watch that guy because that guy's about to do something crazy. The other dude was Blaine Anderson. Blaine Anderson, he was that one that got the 74-pounder. He got 74, 73, 60 this, 60 that. Like, he broke it a ton of times. So it was kind of like the race between Greg and Blaine. And those two, like, growing up, like, you're watching them. Like, dude, this dude's smoking big fish, big fish, big fish. And Greg ended up breaking the world record. It was not only the state record, but it actually broke the world record.
Where is he out of?
I believe he's out of Wallingford, Connecticut. I think that's where he lives, is Wallingford. I think he got the fish out of Stratford, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, 85
In the
pounds.
Sound though?
I believe that's a Sound fish. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
85 pounds, bro. Like, that's giant. And the guys,
It's kind of funny because you almost, I don't know about you because I'm not a huge fisherman, but like you almost take it for granted that, you know, it's world renowned striper fishing right in their backyard. And like people come from all over the country to catch stripers, you know, 10 minutes from my house, really.
Yeah. And so I was having that conversation today. Like we have world renowned striped bass fishing because like you have the guys in the Chesapeake that catch a ton of fish, but it's closed during trophy season. So, like, they close it down during the big, like, spawning and stuff. So, like, you can't even catch big fish down there. And, like, we have Connecticut alone, we have two of the best. Well, I'm sorry. We have more than that. We have 3 of the best striper fishing places in the country. Hands down, the best striper fishing ever. The Housatonic, the Connecticut, and the Thames River. Those 3 winter holdover fish in the Housatonic is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone there and caught hundreds and hundreds of striped bass. And then you go to the Connecticut River. The Connecticut River has winter holdover fish, the big migratory fish. We get them back in September and October, like top water action. It's phenomenal. The Thames River, the spring, the summer, and then we have winter holdover fish there too. Not to add, the Long Island Sound is phenomenal. Fisher's Island, Watch Hill, even
Grace.
the Race. Well, that's New York, but yeah, but that's still right there.
Yeah.
Block Island, Montauk, like it's world renowned. Like right now, the Connecticut River is world renowned. Like you are not going to go anywhere in the world, in my opinion, and catch as many big striped bass than you are in the Connecticut River right now. Like hands down the best, dude. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Like you guys come, like you said, guys come from all over to fish here. We have guys that come on that are clients of ours from all over. It was the same with Seth. All over. Guys would come here just to catch their big stripers. There's a gentleman by the name of Dave. Dave was on here fishing 50. And he comes back every year to catch his striped bass here. Like he was just here last week fishing with Seth and Mike. Like catching giant striped bass. Like that's what he does. He comes here to get his pin for striped bass. Trophy striped bass. So it's cool, dude. It's I think it's one of like the least talked about things here when it comes to striped bass. And not only that, but in the canal, the Cape Cod, like there's so many great things here. Like New England has great whitetails, has some great fishing up and down the coast. I mean, there's like why I think about it all the time. Like I want to move, right? Like I don't want to cuz you grow up here. When you grow up in a place, you're like, I don't know if I want to stay here forever, right? But like my thing is like, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go and have everything that I have here in New England? New England is hands down some of the best hunting and fishing diversity, right? Like you can go whitetail hunting. You can go, I mean, if you draw a moose tag, you can draw a moose tag. You can go tuna fishing. You can go shark fishing. You can go striped bass fishing. You have some great freshwater trout fishing, walleye fishing, bass fishing. I mean, literally, we have everything that you could possibly imagine as an outdoorsman right here in New England. There's nowhere else in the world that's just as good, in my opinion.
Yeah. I trade in all those fish for some bigger deer, though.
Yeah. But like, dude, the thing is like there's some sleeper areas on the East Coast, man. I mean, like, speaking for like whitetail, New Jersey, known for giant whitetails. Nobody talks about them. Maryland has Baltimore loaded with big deer. Washington, D.C. Maine has giant deer. But the thing is, like, Maine, Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts has big deer. Like, but it's just not talked about, dude. Like, some of the biggest deer on the East Coast are right here, right where we are today.
Yeah, I think the reason why it gets overlooked and not really acknowledged is just because of the amount of them and the density. So they're just few and far between compared to Missouri and Kansas and Iowa and stuff like that. Like there's a lot more bigger deer, but I mean they are here. Just good luck finding them.
You have to work 3 times harder to kill them here. Like that, like for example. And it's nothing against, but like the Midwest, there's 5 times more 125s in the Midwest than there is here on the East Coast in New England.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Do we have big deer? Yeah. Do people kill big deer? Yeah. But the volume per square mile is half as much as what it is out there. That's all.
Right. Exactly.
Our buck to doe ratio is there's less bucks to does than it is per square mile in the Midwest. Like they have more 125s in a square mile than we have per square mile. Like that's all. But there's big deer here. Guys shoot giants all the time, dude. Like giants all the time. I mean, look at Northeast Big Buck Club. I mean, there's more giants that go in there and you're like, bro, he shot that and where? He got that and where? Like, or even being at the taxidermist the other day, I stopped by to see our good buddy Chris Brockett, and there was a deer there. Dude, this deer had to have been 150s, 160s, right here, right in the Connecticut River Valley. And you're like, that was shot here? And they're like, yeah. But There's not. If you were to go to a taxidermist in Iowa, there's 50 deer in that caliber of class, where
Right.
our taxidermist
Right.
has 4 of them. So like that's one of the negative things. I mean, but there's a lot of other great things that come along with it. Like our deer population in certain areas, there's a lot more deer, but there's just not a lot more bucks. You got to work 3 times harder to shoot those bucks. That's all. And now everybody has an e-bike. So like they're getting in
I don't.
deep spots and they're kayaking in everywhere and everything else, It's just one of those things.
You still got to put in the work, though. At the end of the day, that's how I look at it. Because, I mean, you never know. I mean, there's guys out there that you could put in minimal effort and shoot a big buck. It happens all the time. But I'm just a firm believer in, you got to put in the work.
Got to work harder
You
than
got to
your
try
neighbor.
Right, exactly. I've been saying that for years.
Hard
But
work doesn't hard work is earned, don't you know?
right. How I look at it is, let's say I just work my ass off from the day the season closes till the day the season starts, and I hunt every opportunity I have. And the guy right next door, maybe hunting the same property as me, puts in minimal effort. Okay, very little scouting, maybe slaps up a camera in August and whatever. He might shoot a big buck. He might shoot the big buck. He might shoot my target buck. And, it is what it is. That's hunting, right? But the way I look at it, it doesn't deter me from putting in the work that I want to put in, because I can't stand being in a tree in November when the grind's on and I'm getting my ass kicked a little bit and I might be a little frustrated. Sitting there all day. I mean, I'm talking sun up to sundown, and you're frustrated and you're thinking, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done more of this. And just sitting there living with your regrets throughout the year, like all those days you slept in, or all the days that, you didn't go scouting because it was too hot, and you just make up excuses. I don't want to be regretting that, on November 12th, when I haven't had the action that I was anticipating, going into the season.
Right.
So I just look at it as I'm going to do everything I possibly can until the season starts, and it is what it is after that,
Yeah. No, I totally agree, because then you're in the deer stand and you're like, well, if I did this over here, maybe those deer were there, but like, what if they're not? Like, and a lot of things are going to change this year, dude. I mean, like, as far as like food sources, they're not going to be what they were last year, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of that, I think.
Definitely no drought like last year, that's for sure, because last year was dry as shit.
Yeah, do you remember
And
scouting this time of year last year and we couldn't find the deer?
yeah, I remember exactly what you're talking about. And it was just, I mean, everything was like wilted in the woods. That whole, I mean, I had never been in there before, but clearly that was a creek bottom.
Right.
And it was not a creek. It was just a rocky bottom. Dry as could be. I mean, last year was brutal on the drought.
Yeah.
And now we're in a stretch right now. I think it's the time of year where it's just, chance of rain, or chance of thunder showers. But we're in a stretch right now where I think they call for a chance of rain for 14 out of 15 days straight.
No, that's just because the weatherman was fucking lazy and wanted to take vacation this past 2 weeks. So he just put it up as 45% chance of rain every day.
Right. But I mean, it has been.
No,
it has been. Water. We've been getting wet. I mean, I'm sure you've been putting on the rain gear here or there on your fishing trips.
Almost every damn day, I feel like.
Right. So obviously that's completely different than what we dealt with last year. I'm still curious. It's still early to see, but I'm curious to see what we're going to get for nuts this year. Again,
like
it can't be as bad as last year.
Well, we were talking to Justin last week on last week's podcast, and he was saying that his apple tree's got more apples than they've ever had.
Right.
I mean, fruit of the forest. I mean, it's. I have a feeling that we're going to be hunting some big oak flats this year because of that. Really, like that's one of the like we had talked about it on the last podcast. Like, if those areas have, if they have the fruit, then those bucks aren't going to leave those beds. Like, they're going to just stay right there.
Right. Yeah, they could be dropping on top of them in their bed.
Right.
And it's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately too. Again, I'm always super hard on myself and always trying to be better and what I can do more and whatnot. So one thing that I've noticed lately is like I'm pretty good with historical data,
Right.
like trail camera pictures from last year, trail camera pictures from the year before,
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. But then if you really want to dive deep and geek out about it, like there's variables. So like, okay, I can go on historical data with a target buck from 2022. Okay, this is what he did. So now I'm coming into 2023. Okay, well 2022 there was a drought and there was no nuts.
Right.
So that data from last year could be useless
Mm-hmm.
if we have a wet spring and a ton of acorns this year. The deer can be doing completely different things, and then if you go back another year, say 2021 was just a super hot November. Well, now is that data from 2021 even different? You know what I mean? Because every year is a little bit different than the year before. So like how far you want to take it. Do you have to go back and find historical data from a fall that matches the current fall
I
to see what
mean,
the deer?
that's
You have to
virtually
almost go
what you'd
back,
have to do, right? I mean,
right? You'd almost have to go back to the last fall where there was a bumper. If say there's a bumper acorn crop this year, and it's cooler than it has been and more rain than it has been. You almost have to go back like 3 or 4 years to the last bumper crop, to the
mm-hmm.
last time we had a good wet spring to anticipate where the deer are going to be this fall, because it's way different than last fall and the fall before that. So it's like, I mean, dude, you can go all day just running around in circles when, the farther you dig into it and try to dissect and overanalyze all that data.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, but those are things you kind of want to pay attention to. But like there's so many other variables that could change within it.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
That's why I'm saying it's like how deep do you want to get it? So, I mean, I always like to go back with historical data and start looking at dates and try to make connections and all that stuff. Because what the fuck? Why not? I'm bored. I'm always thinking about deer. You know, I'm always trying to do stuff like that. But at the same time, I think that's where it comes down to most recent data. Like what are your trail cameras showing going into this season? Like where do you have shooter bucks going into this season? Like where's the hot sign this season? Like, you know what I mean? Like when you do your scouting coming up into this like summer scouting, we'll call it, like coming into the fall, like where's the run that when you go in there to check a camera or hang a stand or whatever, like where's the run this fall that's heavily beaten full of tracks?
Mm-hmm.
Because it might not be the same trail that you set up on last year
Right.
that was loaded with deer. They may have moved 100 yards or 50 yards or 25 yards
Mm-hmm.
this year because of all those other variables. So
Right.
I always try to come into the season with the most current data. I'll think about historical data, but the most current is probably the most valuable.
I agree. And that's what off-season scouting makes it so important.
Right. I mean, how many times have you ever had like you got here's a perfect example that most people can probably relate to last year. You've got an oak flat that's always tore up with scrapes every year, and then all of a sudden last year there's no scrapes there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, what the hell? There's always scrapes here. Why is there no scrapes here? Like this is nuts. Well, it's because there was no nuts. The deer weren't there because they were on a different food source last year. Well, if you go by last year, because there was no sign there last year and you abandon that spot coming into this year, well, the sign might be back there this year because now there'll be nuts there and the deer will be back on that food source. So it's just a game, man. That's what keeps us on our toes, and that's why we love it.
If we knew, then we'd be way better and have more trophies on our wall, right?
Right.
It's just one of those things. Well, Steve, dude, we're cracking in right to the end of 200, buddy. But before we do so, I just want to ask you one question. What
is it?
What drives you outdoors?
Oh, you're a fucking asshole. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
You know, I always bring it back to primal, man. Like it's just a primal instinct, and I don't think people really realize it unless you really think about it. So like, like buck fever, like you got a buck coming in and like you just start shaking and your heart rate's elevated and like your palms are sweaty and like you just can't control your breathing because you're just so excited to like see that deer coming down the trail, or the excitement you get after you shoot an animal and you harvest that animal. And I mean, anybody that's ever done it before, it's a feeling that you can't really describe to anybody that's never done it.
Right.
Well, if you go back to like primal instincts like thousands of years ago, when you saw that animal coming down the trail or you harvested that animal, that meant you got to fucking eat tonight. Like you got to bring it back to your village and feed your family and feed the village, and like you were the fucking man because you provided with everybody, and that's why human beings survived to what we are today. So it's just like literally in my DNA from hundreds of thousands of years ago, and I can't see myself not doing it ever.
I'd have to agree there, man. I like to eat though, so the primal part of it, I enjoy it. No.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's funny. I was hanging out up at Saddle Up Saturday.
Oh, I was gonna ask
last
you about
weekend.
that, man.
Oh, it was good time. It's always great. Like, I'm not there for the demos and stuff like that for the most part, but like, you always find guys to bullshit with on the side, and you're talking platforms and sticks and this and like, just the whole, geeking out on the gear side of things and just meeting new people and all that stuff. But it was Drew had done like a 20-pound beef brisket. He smoked Friday because I stayed up there all weekend.
Yeah.
So I went up Friday after work. So we had this nice beef brisket Friday night for dinner. We ate it, and of course there was a bunch left over. So then Saturday they threw a bunch of slices on the grill, and we were still eating that with hamburgers and hot dogs. And then Saturday night, me, Drew, and Nick were hanging out by the campfire, till like 2 a.m, of course. And there was still leftover brisket, so we're just like eating brisket right out of the bag. So then they were cooking s'mores. So I was like, fuck that, dude. Put some of that brisket on that stick, man. So
Right.
Nick puts it like 3 slabs of meat on the I mean, it was already smoked. It was fully cooked. He was just
Right, of
basically
course.
warming it up. And he's just roasting it over the fire. I'm like, dude, this is what it's all about, man. Just 3 dudes sitting around a fire, just cooking meat over a fucking fire on a stick, Like, it doesn't get any more simpler than that.
Nope, that it doesn't, dude. That's really what we do it all for, honestly. That's why I hunt. That's why I fish, to put meat in the freezer.
Right.
I mean, that's the basics of it, to be honest with you.
Right. It was just funny because 1,000 years ago, there was 3 cavemen sitting around a fire with meat on a stick. And now it's, 2023, and there's 3 dudes sitting around a fire with meat on a stick.
Yeah.
Just,
It doesn't get
So-
better than that.
No,
Well, we
doesn't
made
get
it
any
through.
better than that.
Well, we made it through 200, bro.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
Next week, they can tune in for 201.
201. We're gonna keep on keeping on. It just doesn't get any better than that.
It's just another number, bud. We just keep sending it.
It's just another episode, another number, and that's about what it comes down to, man.
That's right.
Well, do you need to add anything before we close this bad boy out, or what?
No, I was going to ask you what drives you outdoors, but I'm going to hit you with that on a random night when you least expect it.
No, I'll answer it anyways because it's probably the right thing to do. But like, for me, man, it always goes back to the same thing constantly. I think about it all the time because like, I get the chance. I mean, I've been very blessed with the things I've been able to do in my life. Like 100%, everything I've ever wanted to do, I get to do constantly, and to my dreams have all come true, and so on and so forth, and everything I've ever wanted, like as far as like my bucket list and stuff. And one of the things to me, like my job, right? It's like bring it back to that. Like spending time with all of these clients and customers and stuff. I mean, from day one, 10 years ago when I started doing it, and you get to put a smile on the faces of young kids, older gentlemen, women. It doesn't matter, and to share all of those experiences. I mean, that's really honestly what drives me. Like the learning, the teaching, youth turkey season, like that. That's watching people enjoy what I got to enjoy and bring me back to what when I was a kid, of smiling and all the joys and stuff. That's what continues me to drive me outdoors. Honestly, like it's never changed for me. That's, just to share this experience and what we get to do every single day, because there's so many people that like this, the city kids and stuff that never get to enjoy what we get to enjoy. Like, I just don't understand how they get to live their life like that and they don't get to enjoy, the sunrises as as the world comes alive, and they'll never experience anything like that. And that's what continues to make me, go outdoors, honestly. So that's what drives me outdoors. If you care.
Hey, doesn't get any better than that.
No. It really, honestly, it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. But before we end this, I just want to thank every single listener that tunes in every single week.
Yeah.
That's part of everything that we have to do, that comes to events and visited us. And we know who every single one of you guys are. We talk about you guys all the time, and it's what keeps us going. It's what keeps these podcasts coming. We don't want to miss a week. We've never missed a week ever. Sometimes they go out later than they should.
We've been close.
We've been
real close.
The episodes go out late or whatever, but like we never have missed an episode. It's 200 weeks. 200 weeks that we've been putting out podcasting outdoor drive. And before that, it was East Coast bow hunting. It was every single week.
Yeah.
For 190 something episodes. 200. Yeah.
I thought it was 106. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day, and not to pat ourselves on the back or pat yourself on the back or whatever, but like, we don't have a fancy studio, we don't have, we both work full-time jobs and like schedule and podcasts and all that stuff. Like, there's some times where like shit gets hectic, man. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Like, trying to figure out a night that works for a guest and works for you and works for me. But like, we always figure out a way to get it done one way or the other. Like,
there's a podcast.
We're going to get it out,
Yeah, there's a podcast, like it doesn't matter. We do it because we love it. Because we enjoy it, because we want to do it. And we won't stop doing it. I won't.
And I
don't care.
I don't think the listeners will let us get away with it.
No.
I mean,
how many times you miss
post an
one
episode an hour late and Cap's out there like, yo, what up, boys? Where's the episode at? Oh, by the way, congratulations to Cap.
Yeah, little man
I
Cap,
almost forgot.
dude.
He had his baby boy yesterday.
Yep, he did.
So congratulations to you and Shay. With that,
we got a new outdoor drive fucking member.
Oh, we might have to make up some little baby swag, huh?
Yeah, I know. And Justin's about to have his little one too, so we might have to do that.
Yep. So, but yeah, like you said, man, it all goes back to the listeners. Like, when the grind's on and we're in a jam trying to figure out, our schedule and how we're going to get an episode out on Thursday. Like, at the end of the day, it's really like we do it because it's fun, but like, it's for the listeners. You know what I mean? It's for the people that are listening. Like, we don't want to let them down. Like, we got to put that episode out because they're looking forward to it every Thursday, just like we're looking forward to recording it.
It's why we do it, man. Well, we appreciate everybody. We appreciate all the sponsors, all the people that have put us through to 200. And we're not going to stop here, man. We have a dynamite team, no questions asked. We have a great team that's going to bring us through our first deer season here. We went through turkey season. It was phenomenal. And then we have our first upcoming deer season this year, man. And I'm looking forward to it. And, I'm looking forward to another 200. I really, truly, honestly am. So for everyone else, thanks for taking the outdoor drive, and thanks for being part of the outdoor drive.